What's up YouTube, it's your boy Nash here, welcome back to the channel, and welcome to another episode of Yu-Gi-Oh's biggest issue. Sorry guys, I had to move my camera back a bit, but this week's episode is on the history of the Gishki archetype. Now this is a really interesting archetype, because this archetype is all rituals. As crazy as it is all, I believe it's all rituals. Both rituals and Xyz monsters. So it's a water-based archetype that was released in Dual Terminal Raid of the Inverse. Their team symbol is a blue sapphire mirror that almost all the members wear, and they usually wear them around their neck as a necklace or around their staves. You know, their why did I touch my sleeve? Their staves. So as I said, they are not only are they ritual monsters, but they're also Xyz monsters as well. They all have Gishki at the beginning of their names, except for Zelgigas and Cyclone. I believe is the proper name. And they are transformed, merged, or revived versions of pre-existing monsters, either from the Gishkis themselves or from other archetypes. And additionally, while the ritual spells can ritual summon any Gishki monster, each monster has a thematically associated ritual spell. So it's interesting because the story behind this ties into the dual terminal world and the war that went on during that era. So the Gishkis are an organization excuse me, that wields a relic similar to that of the ice barriers, but the only difference is that they use it for a forbidden technique in order to mutate and transform themselves into wicked monsters. And in order to gain the bountiful resources of the Mist Valley marshlands, they began to invade the Gusto territories. However, they were interrupted by the Steel Swarms, who had every intention on taking over the surface land, and the Gishkis had no choice but to work with some of the other clans. And with the Vylon's temporary assistance, they were able to obtain new powers, with which they were able to use to resist the Steel Swarms. However, the invaders were defeated. Other conflicts arose. The Vylons decided to exterminate the clans in order to prevent future wars. The Gishkis had no other option but to choose to team up with the other clans once again in order to seize the actions of the Vylons, which that was actually last week's episode, wasn't it? Let's see. Yes, it was actually last week's episode. Next week's episode will be Gusto. And then, of course, the following episode will be Steel Swarm, and then Castellars, and then Evil Swarm, and then X-Sabers. I think there's a story behind each of those as well. And in order to seize the actions, again, in order to seize the actions of the Vylons. After the Vylons were beaten back, the unions, what the hell? The unions between the clans had dissolved, and the Gishki turned to the Levels to power their rituals. Since materials continued to Since the materials had continued to become scarce, they resumed their original invasion of the Mist Valleys, enacting an all-out assault. I will say. I would say, say in a different way, but I don't want to get screwed or get striked, if you will. So I'll say it in a different way. I'll try to keep it as PG as I can. So they basically so the Gishkis had to continue their invasion of the Mist Valleys, enacting an all-out assault of the Gustos. And once again, their conquest of the Mist Valleys of the valley was interrupted. But this time, it was by the L-Swarm virus. The L-Swarm virus, which spread rapidly across the dual terminal world. But even after resurrecting the 3 Dragons of the Ice Barrier, which are, if I remember correctly, it's Trishula, Brionica, and Gungnir. In order to combat against the corruptive forces of the L-Swarms, most of the Gishki tribe was unable to resist the disease, and themselves became affected and recruited by the Steel Swarms. With their backs up against the wall, the Gishkis, in a moment of desperation, revived the leader of the Steel Swarm in a last-ditch effort. And then, of course, after the war against Sophia, Goddess of Rebirth, which I'm actually going to look up her effect. Let's take a look at Miss Sophia. Cannot be normal summon or set. Must be special summon for your hand by banishing a face-up ritual, fusion, synchro, NXCs from anywhere on the field. So it could be your field or your opponent's. That's actually really cool. And cannot be special summoned by other ways. This card's special summon cannot be negated. When this card is special summoned, banish all other cards from both players' hands, fields, and graveyards. Cards and effects cannot be activated in response to this effect activation. Wow, that is broken. That is too broken. That is too broken. That is way too fucking broken. Holy shit. Holy shit. So after no, I hate ads. There we go. So after the war against Sophia, the Goddess of Rebirth, was brought to an end by Constellar Sombre, which I will be talking about the Constellars at a later episode, and Evil Storm Kirikion. The only known survivors from the Gishki tribe were Gishki Avance and Amelia. Those were the only survivors of the Gishki tribe. They were the only 2 that survived the war against Sophia, Goddess of Rebirth. Now it's interesting because their appearance, if you will, all Ivagishki monsters appear to be corrupted, transformed, or even combined versions of the pre-existing Gishki monsters with each other, or with monsters from other archetypes, or a monster from another archetype that was transformed or revived as an Ivagishki. Their Japanese name, Ritua, is a corruption of the English word ritual that was used in the TCG terms ritual spell card, ritual summon, and ritual monster. So it's basically that. Their English name, Gishki, is a corruption of the Japanese. I don't know how to pronounce. I don't speak Japanese, so I really don't speak Japanese. I'm sorry. I might be able to look it up on Google. Let me take a look. Let's see. let's see. Give me 1 second, guys. Let me see if I'm able to... I guess not. I guess not. I guess I'm on. I guess not. Yeah, I don't really. I don't speak Japanese, but if you guys know, it, comment below. Oh wait. Hang on. Oh, here it is. I have it in my notes here. Gishki, is the name, which means ritual in the same context as the TCG terms. The choice of wording, if you will, for the English name not only translates the play on words, if you will, but it also prevents the need for explaining how cards work with ritual in their name. It basically prevents the need for explanation on how cards with rituals in their name are not part of the archetype, if you will. However, due to their Japanese names, Ritual Buster, Ritual Event, and Spiritual Forest are also members of the archetype as well. However, because that the support for the archetype only covers the monsters and the spells themselves, it's not really much of an issue. Now the style of this archetype is mostly around, obviously mostly around ritual summoning, but it's also focused on sending cards from your opponent's hand, field, or graveyard back into the deck, thwarting the strategies of certain decks, but also forcing them to lose their card advantage. So, for instance, if you were going up against Sky Striker, if you were going up against a deck like say Sky Striker, their card advantage would be spam the board with 7 negates, 3 interruptions on board and in hand, plus in graveyard, and you still be able to have 6 cards in your hand at the most. With this deck, with this archetype, the card advantage goes, and it also and it can also recycle cards to maintain the owner's card advantage as well. So if I were to be playing Gishkis and my opponent were to play Sky Striker, not only would they lose their card advantage, but I would be able to maintain my advantage as well. Since ritual summoning requires a whole lot of resources, the deck is well stocked with a bunch of search effects and non-ritual monsters, focusing on setting up the summons. So some of the cards that you can use for that, for the summons, it could be Gishki Shadow, Vision, Noelia, Abyss, Aerial, Vanity, and Marker, etc. Or they could be combined with the Gishki Ritual Monsters effects, such as Chain, Advance, and Natalia, that work, and they work so well if played alongside with Zelgigas or Levianima if you choose. Gishki Beast is actually a really good versatile rank 4 engine for the deck, because it allows you to just automatically summon Bahamut Shark or any rank 4 exceeds, which could be Utopia, could be pretty much anything. And you can also summon as well, totally awesome as well, because with Bahamut Shark, you detach a material, you summon an Exceeds monster from your extra deck, which again, totally awesome. Is one of the big cards that one of the biggest Xyz monsters that you can use, that you can summon off of the effects of Bahamut Shark. So totally awesome is a really good way to interfere with your opponent's plays and also protect your own plays as well. And if you're ever in a pinch, you can summon Gishki Shadow or Vision as the entire tribute for a ritual summon, or utilize the Retriever and Searcher effects of Abyss or Gishki Marker as well, which is really good. There are several decks that were used back in the day. We have there was Zelgiga's Turbo or Zelgiga's Beatdown, level 8 Gishki, Heraldic Gishki, and Gishki Ftk. So with Turbo, you're summoning the focus is summoning multiple copies of Zelgigas, and being able to utilize cards like Super Dreadnought, Rail Cannon, Gustav Max, number 35, Ravenous Tarantula. Salvage would be another good one to use. Mounds of the Battle Creator. The Incantations, Zaborg, the Mega Monarch, Herald of the Arclight, totally awesome. These are just some of the cards that you can use for a Zelgiga's Turbo or Zelgiga's Beatdown deck. Now, as far as level 8 Gishki, you're basically utilizing Levianima as the main power source. Using cards like Trade-In, cards like cards like, what else can I think of? Pot of Extravagance, I would probably say would be another really good one, because not only are you turboing out your whole deck, you're also trying to use also the effects of Morning Glacia and also Gamseel, the Sea Turtle Kaiju, to just completely ruin your opponent's plays, which is really good and which really broken. And you're also utilizing you're also utilizing the summons of level 8 monsters and also rank 10 Xyz monsters. Now, Heraldic Gishki is basically Gishkis and Heraldics mixed together. I don't even have to say anything. So cards like Gus Kraken, Heraldic Dragon of Tefnuit, just some of the cards that you would mainly want to see in that type of deck. Gishki Ftk, it's an old strategy from 2013 that actually got a couple of tops back way back in the day, way back in that time, which is kind of interesting, actually, really interesting. The strategy for Gishki Ftk was utilizing a massive spell lineup, which would give you cards such as Card Destruction, and also cards like Ivagishki Mind Aegis, as well, to completely deck out your opponent, which was termed Gish Kill. That was the name of that was the term of this deck, Gish Kill, meaning you're done. One turn, that's it. This created problems in tournament plays, because the sequence of the play would last more than 40 minutes, which would basically be the whole duel, which led to Mind Aegis being limited in the September 2013 ban list. However, a version of this deck was still usable, which was known as single Aegis. The limitation was eliminated by the player base's interest in the deck due to how inconsistent it became. Because that Mind Aegis got limited in the September 2013 ban list, the Gishki Ftk deck, or the Gish Kill deck, basically just died down, and it was completely off balance. You would need to have include two different cards to utilize the deck. So you would have no choice but to add, play cards, like potentially Pot of Duality or something to make the deck consistent. But but a card like Pot of Duality in a Gishki Ftk deck was basically a brick, complete brick, which nowadays you don't even see Gishkis anymore. You do not see Gishkis anymore, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. Now, as far as the weakness of the deck, because that this archetype is revolving around mostly ritual summoning, cards like Archlord Christia, Evil Swarm, Ophion, Fossil Dyna, Pachycephalo, Jalgan the Spiritualist, and the Vanity's cards, Vanity's Ruler, Vanity's Fiend, Vanity's Majesty's Fiend, what else? Vanity's Emptiness as well. Would be cards that could stop the heart of the deck's strategy, because that it was so reliant on special summoning. Now, as far as cards that can prevent searching, Thunder King Ryo, Thunder Dragon Colossus, Mistake, Deck Lockdown, cards like Book of Moon and Lost Wind are also really good cards that can stop searching, but also block the effects of cards like Shadow and Vision as well. And even also a card like Twin Twister can be used against the back row attempts as well. And hand traps, there are so many different hand traps you can use to stop this type of archetype. Drone Lockbird, Ghost Bell, Ghost Ogre, Call by the Grave. Dimensional Fissure is a really good spell that can stop graveyard setup. Herald of the Arclight, DD Crow, Macrocosmos. Those are some of the big cards that can stop graveyard setup. But also, as far as like the board goes, cards like Black Rose, Moonlight Dragon, and Penguin Soldier, crazy enough, can actually bounce any summoned Gishki ritual back to the hand and prevent them from hitting the field. Thus, it would completely cripple the entire Gishki Aqua Mirror strategy as well. So, do I believe this archetype needs new support? No, I don't think this needs support. It's just that I really don't see this archetype getting any support at all. If we did get any support for them, when was the last time we got support for them? The last time we ever got support for them, as far as the TCG sets, we got them in hang on, guys. Give me 1 second here. I'm actually looking up online to see about Alright, so as far as like the TCG sets that featured this set that featured this archetype, I think like sets like Stardust Overdrive, Extreme Victory, Hidden Arsenal 5, 6, and 7, Secret Forces, Photon Shockwave. Those were some of the sets that featured that featured cards from this archetype, but I really don't see this archetype getting any support anytime soon. Just because of the fact that I think Mind Eggs is still limited, if I remember correctly. Let me see. If I remember correctly, I believe it is still limited. Let's see. Oh, I guess not. Oh, I guess not. I guess not. I guess not. I thought it was still limited, but I guess they must have took it off years ago. But yeah, it was it was limited for quite a while, and then it got taken off the list. But speaking of the ban list, our next ban list will apparently be on October 1st. So sometime in the middle of next month, I will be doing a I will be doing a ban list prediction video, talking about and I'm going to be going in depth with the meta and how can I say it? How absurd, if you will, the meta is. But that actually brings us to the question of the day. Do you guys want to see Gishkis get more support? Let me know in the comments below. And that is actually going to do it for this episode of Yu-Gi-Oh's Biggest Issue. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button if you guys are new to the channel. You guys want more episodes of Yu-Gi-Oh's Biggest Issue, which gets posted every Friday. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you guys don't miss out on any new content that comes your way. And be sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram. All the links will be down in the description below if you guys have fan mail that you want to send me and want me to open up on the channel, my address will also be in the description as well. And on that, this is your boy Nash, signing out.